Okay, well, I will go ahead and get us started. We may have some people still strolling in, but I've got some housekeeping items to go over anyway, so I'll do those first. For those of you whom I haven't met, my name is Scott, and I am a Get Setup guide coming to you from Silver Spring, Maryland, right outside of Washington, D.C. Uh, we are on Facebook Live today, and this is also being recorded mainly for internal quality control purposes. But if you would like a copy of this class, a recording of this class, you can email help@getsetup.io and request a copy, and we'll get that right to you. I also will be sending out some notes afterward for you for reference with a few additional links, just some names of some of the apps that I'm going to go over today. I do need to stress that I'm not advertising any of these apps. GetSetup does not have any commercial deals, any advertising deals. We don't do that. So this is all just getting some things on your radar of some apps that I've used over the years or even just recently. I will get started. I've got the chat box open. So if you're comfortable dropping in questions in the chat as we go through here, feel free to do that. And then I will also break for questions as we go through some of these different apps. I hope this will be a lot of fun, just showing you different things that you can do with your mobile apps on your smartphone, mobile photo apps, to dress up some of the pictures you snap. So I'll first share a couple of slides, and then I will start sharing my phone screen so I can walk you through how these apps work in real live demonstrations. Okay, is everybody seeing my screen now? Okay. So I want to just kind of do an introduction to some of the top-rated mobile photo apps that are being rated on different websites and things like that. How to use some of them for various treatments for your pics. I'm going to demo 4 or 5 of those, and then we'll also learn to make simple fixes to photos. It's doing some magical things to them and also just basic fixes to it. If there is anything else in particular that you would like to learn to do with your photos, drop that in the chat and let me know, because there may be an app for that. I may know of it. Yes, I will, and I will be repeating that address at the end of the class. So. Okay, so let's just talk a little bit about photo apps. What can they do? Why would you want any of these? Well, they make some basic improvements and enhancements to your photos, just adjusting the color intensity or the contrast, things like that, which is really handy. Your smartphone usually comes equipped with some of those capabilities, but photo apps add a lot to the arsenal. You can also, there are apps that allow you to remove unwanted objects from the photo. You can either do that just by cropping a little bit, but also there are some that actually make something disappear. That technology is still kind of in the embryonic stages. It still needs a little bit of fine tuning, but it is out there. And on some photos, it works pretty well. You can add all kinds of special effects. You can make a photo into some kind of pop art, make it look like a sketch or something like that. You can make it look like a painting even, and much, much more. You can add some different backgrounds and so forth. So some of the photo apps I'm hoping to cover today in the next hour are they're on this list here. Snapseed is one that is if you get no other photo app, this one would really be the one you'd want because it does quite a bit. It's kind of a workhorse or a utility player for you. I'll walk through all the different things it has on there. These are all free to download that I'm going over. At least last I checked, they were all free. Snapseed is probably one of the most popular because it's so versatile and it is free. Another one, there are a couple here that do specific things. Focus is something that changes your depth of field, which means that it is going to zoom in and focus really intensively on your subject in your photo and blur out the background a little bit to give it that nice sort of velvety background and make it look almost like it was taken with a professional camera with a sophisticated lens. This one, Retouch, will remove, it's one of the few out there, and this one is free, although you do get ads pushed to you when you open it up, but it will remove objects from a photo. Prisma is one that does a variety of different effects to a photo. It will make it look like pop art or a picture or a painted picture or something like that. And then Photo Leap is kind of the same thing, but it does even more. It adds some pretty neat special effects that I'll just demonstrate a couple on there. It does things like double exposures and much more. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my phone. Let's see if this works. Now I gotta bear with me just a second. Okay. All right. So everybody seeing that now? I've got my cell phone screen up here. All right. So the first one I do want to demo is Snapseed. And this one is on both the Apple App Store and Google Play, which if you have an Android device, that's where you would get your apps. And I just want to show you, if you click on that plus sign, you can open up your photos, your photo library. Just hit open from device. I don't want to do that. Open from device, and it goes right into my photo library and allows me to just select something that I want to take a picture of. I have some albums set up here, so I'm going to go into my GetSetup album. And I am going to pick one photo that I would really like to dress up. So let's take this one. Something I just took in Maine a couple of years ago. So I have a bunch of options here, down here. These are, they call them looks. Sometimes in other apps, these same types of little options are called filters, but they essentially just change the look and feel of your photo. It adds some sort of moodiness to it. You can just scroll down here and select whatever you think looks good. Anything that adds to the mood or atmosphere you want to create within that photo. So this is just going to see if this, yeah, there we go. That makes it a little more visible. So I can just scroll down and select any of these and find one that I think suits what I want to maybe do with this. I can even go into some black and white modes, fine art, things like that. So those are just really quick and easy ways to sort of dress up a photo. But what is also really handy here are the tools, and they offer a variety of tools that you can use. Here you can just tune the image. Um, you'll notice this little magic wand down here. You will see those on a lot of apps. That is sort of an immediate enhancement. If I click on that, it's not doing much with this one. Well, yeah, I'm just sliding my thumb across the picture itself right now. So that's why it's changing the way it is. But I can also, that's just for the brightness. I can also change the color intensity if I want. If you see that, it's getting a lot bluer. And that would be this little symbol down here, which is kind of the universal symbol for just simple adjustments, such as saturation, contrast, brightness, things like that. You have a pretty, I guess we've got all the selections here up. You can make this into maybe a little bit of a warmer photo, give it a little bit more of a golden hue or something like that. But that's just for simple adjustments. Go back to your tools. You can go and just experiment with any of these. This one is called HDRscape. This is a cool effect to get. Some photos it works better than others. Here, I'm not sure it's all that conducive to it, but that is called high dynamic range. That stands for high dynamic range. And what it does is basically on these apps, it really intensifies the sharpness of the photo, the color. It almost makes it look surreal depending on how much you apply here. So that is something to try out as well. One other I'll just demonstrate that is kind of cool is drama, which just adds this kind of intensity to a photo. And it's got several selections here that you can try out. So that is just a quick run through of what this app can do. Once you're ready to say export it or share it, you can hit export and it creates a copy for you. You can share it or you can simply, whoops, where'd that go? Or you can simply save it to your files, share it on Instagram, anything like that. And that is just one app. Any questions on that one?
Yes. I didn't quite understand how you said you got into Snapseed.
I downloaded the app and then I just opened it up on my phone.
Where did you go to get it?
Oh, I just did, well, it should be as an icon on your phone screen. So if I download it, it would be somewhere in here. I've sort of organized my phone screen in a certain way. But I would just scroll down. It would appear. See it? It's right there.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
But I take it this is one that you cannot remove an object from the picture?
No, this does not have that capability. One I'm going to demonstrate in either, I think, in a couple of apps from now, does do that.
How do you make a pure white background?
A pure white background
For a picture?
Well, I can show that app when we get to the end. There are some apps. I didn't have that on my list of demos, but I can find one that would demo that for you.
Okay, thanks.
There is one that does that. Actually, there are several that do that. But
would you
Can
like
all of these apps make it so you can put more than one photo together and combine them into a picture?
there are some that do that. And I think we've got somebody that might want to put themselves on mute. hearing some background noise. So if you're not speaking, if you could put yourself on mute, that'd be helpful. Thanks. Great. So there are some that do that. They're kind of complicated, but there is one that I'm going to have on a list to show you later that does allow you to take elements from one photo and combine it into another. That is free. So yeah. Okay. All right. So any other questions on that
For the lady that wanted a white background,
one?
we have snow in the Detroit area. I could take a picture of the snow and send it to you if you'd like.
I'm in the Detroit area too, so I know what it looks like.
I tried.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Back to
I
me.
am, I'm just going to put this on mute all right now, although you can unmute yourself if you do have a question. So I just wanted to make sure we didn't have any background noise there. And let me share my phone screen again. Okay. So the other one that I really like a lot is called Focus, which I mentioned before. And that allows you to do some pretty nice things with, whoops, not what I wanted to do. So I have a special album with for GetSetup, but it's not showing up here. So I will try this one. Okay. So one example of where this might come in handy is with a picture like this. If you'll notice here, I just snapped this of my niece last fall. She was just kind of sitting here on a gravel road, and so I thought this would make a cool little picture. But I kind of wanted to make this look a little more like it, like an actual portrait photographer took this. So this app, when you open up the photo in this app, you can basically what it's doing is narrowing your aperture, or widening your aperture actually, which is basically meaning that you're putting most of your focus here. And all of this is getting more blurred out, which is a nice effect to get with a photo. This is honestly is the only thing I use this app for. There are a few other functions on it. Some of them are require a premium account, but you don't need to. Here you can make it more vivid or something like that. You can change the way it's focused, but mainly I just use it for this background effect. If you have portrait mode on your camera, on your phone camera, automatically, a lot of iPhones now come with that, and I'm pretty sure all the Android phones do too. You can get this effect anyway. But I've got some older photos that I took and one like this that I snapped, not using portrait mode, and I want to get that effect. I can just use this app to do that. Any questions on that one?
No, my question is, if you don't find any of those on your phone, does that mean your phone is too old?
So let me ask you, Leola, what phone do you have?
I think it's a 10.
You should
Scott,
be able to use this.
Scott, I think she wants to know where to find how to get the app on her phone.
Okay. If you go to the App Store, Leola,
Yes.
you would just look for that, and I'll have a list of all these apps in the email that I send afterward.
Okay, I already wrote them down.
Okay, great. You just look for those in your app store and download them, and then you can start using them.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Scott, I noticed on your list, you don't use like Photoshop, the free Photoshop version for the phone.
Uh-huh.
Is there a reason for that?
I do use that. That's another one you can try. To be really honest with you, I did not demo that this time around because I've had some trouble with some people trying to download it as we're doing this and running up against something that says they have to pay. And so there was a lot of confusion around it. So I sort of wanted
Okay.
to save that as another suggestion you might try, but that is true. Adobe, which makes Photoshop and Lightroom, which a lot of professional photographers use, but also a lot of amateur photographers as well. They have a free mobile app that you can download that does quite a bit as well. So that's another one you might want to try. It's a lot like Snapseed, but it even has more capabilities on it than Snapseed does. But yeah, I use Photoshop Express, and there are also some additional Photoshop type of I guess spin-off apps, for lack of a better word, and that will do even add more to your arsenal, so to speak. Okay. So let me show you the app that allows you to, and I got to remember, yeah, there we go. The app that allows you to remove objects. So it's called Retouch. As soon as I open this, it's going to push an ad to me unless I can go down here and pay to have this without ads. So I apologize for well, actually, it didn't happen this time. That's nice. But I'm going to just do a demo here of where you might find something you want to erase from a photo. So here's one now. There's where they give you the ad. Okay. You have to wait 5 seconds and then you can close that out. But here is an example of a photo that I am interested in removing something from. So I have my dog sitting here, and then there is another dog here that I would like to say remove from the photo. To do that, I'm just going to go down here to where it says remove object. It brings up these two little utilities here. One is something to draw on it, which I don't want to do. And one is to erase. It defaults to that erase. So right now, what you're seeing is me putting my finger over this other dog. So it outlines him in red, and then I hit go, and he disappears. Sometimes you have to do it a couple of times to really get every element of him out of there, or any element of what you're trying to remove. It's not perfect, but it does have some awareness of what's in the background and sort of blends it all together so that that disappears.
Scott, you're not using your mouse to do the erasing. You're actually putting your finger on the phone.
Yeah, I'm doing this on my smartphone, and I'm actually using my finger. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you click that one first. Or no, you don't. You don't have to because it's already default.
Yeah. Yeah. This would
Okay.
be where it defaults to. Yeah. And here's another example. I'm just going to go up here. Maybe I want to remove that tree out of the mix. See what happens if I do that. And just kind of changes the background a little bit. So that's one. It's really kind of ideal. You can see back here too. Say I want to get rid of that little red ball. That disappears as well. So it's probably handier for smaller objects and things like that. You will find some out there that purport to allow you to just like completely erase people from a photo. Most of those are paid apps. I don't know what a lot of them cost, but they are out there. I haven't heard the greatest reviews on a lot of them, but if you want to experiment with doing something like this app in particular is probably one to at least try out. So
Scott,
that's
why
like-
does it say brush size at the bottom?
That allows you to, I'm just calling this up. Sorry, I have to go through this ad again. Okay. That just basically kind of is the amount of space that it is going to capture in to, how do I word this? The brush size essentially is I'm getting more of that red when I rub over it, and it's bringing in more of the surrounding area to blend into the photo after this object is removed. So as you can see there, because the brush was wider, let me go back and see what happens if I start over and go with a very small brush. Yeah. So what happens if if the brush is bigger, it's reading from my finger movements, it's reading a wider range around the object that's being removed, because what it's doing is sort of taking those elements and blending it in here to take over for what has been removed, to try to make it look as natural as possible. But you see, when I had the brush really wide, it was actually capturing this. And so that ends up over here instead of just snow. Does that,
Like you get more detail with a skinnier brush.
yeah, and a narrower amount of space that it's capturing in to replace that object you're removing with.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Other questions on that one? I want to show you Prisma, and there are several apps out there like Prisma. I'm just going to go to, let's see, let me just pick out one in particular. If I want to go to this, it's going to first try to sell you on a premium version or something like that, which you can just ignore. But here's a photo that maybe I want to dress up into something almost like like pop art or something like that. There are some that are behind a paywall. First, I can make some adjustments here. I can lighten this up or make the contrast lower or something like that. I'm not going to do that with this one, but once I'm in here, I can hit one of these, turns into a painting, or I can try this. And you can try all different options out. They have a slew of these. Some of them, again, if there's a padlock on it, that means that you have to have a premium subscription to use it, but there are a lot here. The other thing that you can try is some backgrounds. So I actually replaced my background. I've got several I can shop through here to try to do that. As you'll see here. So that's another fun option to try with this one.
Are we using retouch?
No, this one is Prisma.
Prisma, okay, thanks, sorry.
Yeah. And the last one I'll go over is something called Photo Leap. I really have fun with this one. This does quite a bit. One, it can do, say, double exposures. So if I click on this and I want to, say, do a, maybe I'll take this one of my dog. And it'll do something like that. If you click on that overlay here, you can get a bunch of options. You can move this around just by putting your thumb on it or finger. And just makes for an interesting illustration. And so you've got all kinds of options there. The other thing it does is, well, it does several things, but here's one where you can take any object. Let me find a good one here. Okay. All right, say we take, here is a landmark. It's taking a while to process and it's not showing up on the screen. Let me try something else here because this is not sharing. All right, let me try this for a sec. Okay, there we're showing up. Let me try this again. Okay, so yeah, that's what I did. I opened this up and I got, I'm going to go back so I can walk through that from the beginning. So I opened this, this effect up. It's called dispersion. And I look for the photo that I want to try to add this effect to. And for this, I picked a landmark, the Arc de Triomphe. I'm not pronouncing that right. My French is not great, but, and I get an effect like that. And I can move it around. Can also try different types of dispersion. And that is just kind of fun to do an interesting illustration with. And you can add more to it, have it disperse even more. There are some other options here that you can try out. Say a urban portrait of some sort that would take something like this and it turns it into something like that. And so lots to play with there. This one you could get sucked into for hours if you're not careful.
Yeah. Scott,
Yes.
on this app, can you make the background like the cloud is floating and then the object is still?
Oh, you mean like some movement?
Uh-huh.
Um,
Cloud is moving real fast in the back and the
I'm not sure you can do that on this one. There is, I've got to look for it because I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but there is one that does that. I'm just shopping through here to see if I see it. I think it might be Move Pick. Yeah. If I add a photo here, let me look for something that would work, something with a sky behind it. Okay, I open this up and I just want to set the path. You'll see down here it says path.
Okay.
I want to click on that and just scroll across. That's where I want the movement to be.
Oh,
What I want to freeze is everything in the foreground. So I'll come down here and with freeze, just run my finger over all of this. And I think that should,
wow.
there you go. Yeah,
Bottom line is moving.
yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah. That one is called Move Pick, MOVEPIC.
Okay.
And Cinda, I see your question about Prisma. There is another one too that you can try. Of course, Photo Leap will do some of that, but you can take a picture like this and go to next, and it will do the same thing. It just applies a different style to it. This one's called Artisto. And you've got several options that it offers to do kind of the same thing. Like that. So that's another option for you is Artisto. I'll put that on the list as well that you'll be getting. Okay. Anything else that, oh, somebody was wondering, did somebody ask about removing a background? I'm trying to remember the app that does that, but there is one that will actually allow you to get rid of a background. Just scrolling here to see, I think it's Photo Room. Yeah. Here, if you open up a photo, I just click the plus sign and I can say, I'm using my dog a lot these days. Let's see if this works. Yeah, there you go. I now have a white background. Unfortunately, well, that didn't work because it got some of her head. Sometimes the contrast has to be really strong for it to work properly. I can find another photo that might work better. Let's take this one. There. That's better. And that either gives you a white background. It not only does that, it will give you a transparent background. The one drag is it has its little watermark there at the bottom, but at least it's not at the bottom and rather than across. And you know, you can give it different types of effects like this. They actually offer quite a few here in terms of possibilities. So, but that's one that makes it very easy to not only remove the background, but replace the background. And here's an interesting question. Does it take up a lot of space on your phone to have all these photo apps? You know, a lot depends on the size of your phone. I am a pretty avid photographer, and a lot of times I'm using my iPhone because I don't have my camera with me. I have a pretty Mondo digital camera that is not something I walk around with all the time, but I really like the fact that I have my phone as an option as well. Yeah, I can have a ton on here, but part of that is the capacity in my phone. So that is something you're going to have to look at to see how much space your phone holds. But the apps themselves aren't taking up so much space as the images you create with them are taking up space. And that can usually be solved by simply by simply backing them up into the cloud someplace, like in Google Photos, or offloading them onto a thumb drive or something like that. So then you could delete them from your phone, but you would still have them. Okay, and oh, the photo of, that's actually my niece where I was dimming the background. Okay. Let me see if I'm, Ingrid, can you tell me a little bit more? I'm not sure I follow the question.
You were saying that, I can't remember exactly, I think it was maybe focus, which would basically bring her into the foreground and dim the background.
Yeah.
And it didn't appear that, it looked as though it was still going, and it didn't appear that it was complete, so.
Okay, let me call that one up again.
Change.
Oh, what happened here? There we go. Okay, so let me go into that one.
It was where she was sitting on the gravels.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah.
So it didn't look as though it dimmed at all. Maybe it did, and I just didn't notice it.
It's not actually dimming, it's just blurring.
Okay.
So if you'll see here, everything's in sharp focus, right? If I move my finger up, it just blurs it, which is a nice effect to get, especially you see some of these sort of blurry lights in the background.
Mhm.
That's a nice artistic effect to get with a photo, especially
Okay.
with portraits.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it doesn't do more than that. It doesn't doesn't make it out of focus completely, I guess.
No, she would be in focus, and because the photo is able to sense, or the phone is able to sense, or the app rather is able to sense that she's my object, the subject of my photo, and it just looks in the background and sort of starts to blur that out.
Okay, thanks.
Mhm.
Do they have an app yet that can fix a faulty focus that's in the picture when you took it?
Yeah, I have to say I still have found those to be a little bit wanting, but the one thing that you can do on any app or even on your just on your phone, uh, here's an example. If I take this picture and I open it up to edit on my phone, um, I can, this is just one example of a device that will do that. Say this was really blurry. I would just hit sharpness and I would keep, and I don't know how visible that is, but all the definition and sharpness is showing up in that photo where it wasn't there before. This photo wasn't really blurry to begin with, but if there's another blurry photo that using a sharpness tool, which you can find in a lot of apps, might help fix that. Okay, and Emily had a question about with all the apps, each one only has their own function. Like I used retouch before, but I cannot do some other function then. Actually, if I'm following this question correctly, you can edit a photo on one app and save it, and then open it up in another app and do more to it. So you can't use them necessarily at the same time, but just because you change a photo on one app, I'll show you as an example. This one I did dress up on an app. And if I say load this up on, trying to find a good, I'm just going to show one app where I can play around with this. This one I'm not demoing, but here is, I've already edited it on one app. Now I can do it on another. Like that. Or do something like this. So yeah, it's just a matter of saving it on one app and then opening it up in another one afterward. Is that what you were wondering about, Emily?
Yes, I will try that. Thank you.
Okay, okay. And thank you,
Can
Cinda. Her name's Maggie.
Can you turn the one with your dog into a painting from, because I know there are a couple apps that you can do that. I'm just trying to remember which one it is, that you can take that photo and turn it into a painting as though you painted it.
Yeah, that the one I used was Prisma.
Prisma did that? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And there's another one called Artisto. A-R-T I-S-T-O.
Thank you.
Yeah. So that will do the same thing. So I'll put both of those on the list of apps that I send. Okay, and is there an app for putting two pictures on a background you select? Well, I'll tell you what, that Leola, that one app I showed you, I think you could do that. If you go down to Photo Room, so this one I've created, I've made it transparent. This background is now transparent, or should be. So let me see what happens if I replace the background. Say I take something like that. Yep, I just put in a new background there. Or I could, I'm just trying to find a good landscape or something. Yeah, there you go. So you can do that with your own pictures.
Scott, these
Yeah.
are great apps, but I play with my photos on my computer.
Mm-hmm.
And it, you know, automatically you get a bunch of stuff you can do with your photos, but some of those things you cannot do except with these apps. Can you upload those to your computer, to your PC?
Yeah, you can. For example, say I wanted to save this picture. Are you talking about uploading the apps to your PC?
Yes, being able
Okay.
to use the apps on your PC.
Yeah, unfortunately, these are all mobile apps. There is Photoshop, which you can get.
Yeah.
There are some free apps that if you go to an app store, say if it's Google Play, or if you're on a Mac, you'd go to the Apple App Store. They do have a list of some free and some paid apps that you can use. And they do a lot of these things. There's one I think called Photor. I think it's F-O-T-O-R. Is one that I think I pay a premium subscription to because it does some extra things I like that they charge for. But it is a free app though. If you don't care about all those extra bells and whistles, that's one that does quite a bit of enhancements to photos as well. If there's a specific thing you want to do to a photo, I would just put that in a search in the App Store on your computer and download it there. That would be more the PC or MacBook based apps that you could download.
Scott, this is Leola. You
Thanks.
didn't quite answer my question.
Okay.
I guess this might not be the class for it, but say you create a background and you want to put 3 pictures on top of that background. That's what I was talking about.
Okay, if you create the background, yeah, it's a little opposite of what I did here, but when you're talking about a background, are you talking about something?
Say you want all dots on a picture or something like that, and then you want to put 3 pictures on it.
That may be a little bit more involved than I'm gonna.
Oh, okay.
But yeah. Yeah.
There are like a couple of scrapbook apps that you can do that with quite easily.
Yeah. Yeah.
There
you
are
just pull in
scrapbook
the-
apps.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, Emily, I'm glad to see that you were able to repair a picture. Okay. Let me go back
Old
to,
picture, you know, so that's the only thing I can repair. It really helped with my mouse though. Now I learned how to use the finger to repair that too.
yeah. Oh, good.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Well, I do want to tell you, just run a list of a few others that some I guess I have demonstrated here. Another one is called LD. That adds some things. Overlays are sort of like an extra layer that will go over a photo, but it's usually at least partially transparent. So this app does some nice things with weather elements. It will add some nice sort of picturesque sun flares or sun glows or things like that. It can add fog, it can add rain, and even snow. So if you say you have in fact, that picture I showed you of my dog, I actually used LD to add the snow, falling snow in there. It wasn't snowing when I took that picture. The snow had already stopped, but I wanted to add that in. There's another one called Samara that is good for dressing up portraits and selfies. I showed you Photo Room, which you can take out backgrounds and add new backgrounds in. I actually think, Leola, if you played around with that one a little bit, you might be able to try out what you're trying to do. I think it can work in both directions. And photo collage, that's for creating customized collages. If you want to create a nice photo collage, that's pretty intuitive and pretty easy to use. And then the last one is called PS Camera. That is a Photoshop product. And it just does all kinds of things with special effects. It can add, it can turn daytime skies into nighttime, really starry skies and things like that. So, and then the last one that I didn't go over, but if you want to experiment with that, is Photoshop Express or PS Express. It might look when you look it up on the App Store. That is also free. If you get hung up, when I've mentioned that to some people in this class previously, and they try to download it right there and then, they run into something that looks like a paywall that actually isn't. There are some premium features on Photoshop Express, but the app itself to download and use, most of the functions on it is free. So you can check that one out too. It does a lot, as I said, of the things that Snapseed does, and then some. So that's another one. I'll make sure to include that in the list as well. Okay. Just want to, whoops, I'm jumping around here. Okay, so we would love to see anything that you do based on any of the apps that you learned here or some new ones that you downloaded. So if you do have some photos you want to show off, you can send those to Liz at getsetup.io. She'd love to promote those in our on our blog or even on Facebook or something like that. And if you just want to tweet it out or something like that, our hashtag is GetSetup. Just to alert you to some related classes coming up. There's another one on fun things to do on your smartphone besides using photo apps. And then there's another one on introduction to Instagram, which is great if you want to start sharing some of your pictures and some of your creations that you do with the apps on Instagram. It's a social media site, but it's very photo and image focused. My next classes, I have one coming up, I guess in about a half an hour actually, on blogging on a platform called Medium. And this is where you can, it hosts your blog for you, and you can actually build an audience through that. And then I have one on how to take great pictures with your iPhone. That focuses less on apps and more on just the camera features that come on your phone that you can deploy to get the best effect. And also talks a little bit about photo composition, how to really compose some nice photos. So those are on the schedule online if you want to look there. You can also, when you get this feedback email or class notes email, you can click on view schedule and the whole schedule will pop up. Your class notes will have basically all the apps that I mentioned. And here is a link to the feedback form where you can add any kind of suggestions about how we might improve this class, what worked, what didn't. It defaults to 4 stars, which you can lower or raise depending on how you felt about the class. But please be honest. And then lastly, if there is anything that you would like to learn, any kind of tech skill or artistic skill or something like that, that you don't see us offering in our class schedule, by all means, let us know, suggest it, because so many of the classes that we have created have emanated from suggestions that we've gotten from our learners. So we would love to get some other ideas. So don't hold back on those. Again, the address, the email address you can use to get a recording of the session is help@getsetup.io. And again, if you have other friends or relatives that you'd like to invite to attend some of our classes, please spread the word. We'd love to bring more people into the community. We are really mission driven in trying to create connection for people who are not able to get out as much these days because of the pandemic. So with that, I hope this was fun and helpful and might inspire you to play around with some photos. And I hope to see you all in another class soon.